This is Ellipse, Day 1 notes. For the definition, an ellipse is a set of all points for which the sum of the distances to two fixed points is constant. That means if I have an ellipse and I have my two fixed points and I connect them to just some random point on the edge, that means that if I add this distance and this distance, no matter where I move this point, these distances will always be constant. All right, so let's look at these two ellipses. You can have a horizontal ellipse or you can have a vertical ellipse. And on those two ellipses, you have some very similar things. Okay, let's just talk about the differences here. Why I have an A, B, and C. Your A is going to be the distance from the center to the vertex. So labeling on both of these, I'm going to say this is my A. And over here, I'm going to do the same thing. That was really bad. This is your A. I'm also going to say that my vertex can also be called my major axes. Your B is going to be your distance from your center. These all go from your center to the co-vertex. And you're going to see me abbreviate this as CV. So on this one, this is your B value. And over here, this is your B value. And your co-vertex is called your minor axes. And your C is your distance from the center to the focus. Or if you're talking about two, it's called the foci. This is your C. And over here, this is your C value. And so both of them have it no matter horizontal or vertical. You'll always have an A, B, and a C. Remember your center is HK. And one other bit of information you might want to know, if you don't have an A, a B, or a C, you can find it by using C squared equals A squared minus B squared. This will never change. This is how you can find it. Okay, looking at your standard equations, x minus your h value, this quantity is squared, and your y minus k, quantity squared. This is kind of like the circle. And I'm going to go ahead and do it over here because they are exactly the same. This does not change. And if you know, I'm setting it up like a division problem because there is a division. Okay, that is the same on both of them. They are both equal to 1, so you have to solve it that way. The difference between these two is on a horizontal, this is over a squared first and then b. Vertical is over b squared and then a squared. That is the only difference. Now, how do you tell the difference between these two? A is always greater than B. It says find the center, the endpoints, major and minor axes. Remember, your major is your vertex, your minor is your co-vertex, and then your foci or your focus, and sketch an ellipse. Okay, so if I'm looking at this right here, remember I'm looking at these bottom to decide which one is A and which one is B. Remember, A is always greater than B. So this one is my A value. So this is A squared and this is B squared. So if I go ahead and start labeling things, what I figure out is if this is horizontal or vertical first. Since A is over here, I'm going to go ahead and say this is a vertical. And then start labeling everything. So if I know this is A squared, then A is going to be 4 and B is going to be 3. I can figure out C by using my formula. And remember, my formula was C squared equals A squared minus B squared. So that would be 16 minus 9 and so c squared is 7. So c is the square root of 7. You know your center. Remember, you can get your center by the middle there or the top. And remember, you always take the opposite. So my center is going to be 2 and -3. Now, you can go ahead and find your vertex, co-vertex, and your foci by this information, but I like to kind of sketch as I go. So that's what I'm going to do. I have a center at 2, -3, and you're going to label everything with the initial. And I know this is going to be vertical, so this is going to go up and down. Okay, vertex. You know your vertex you're going to get from your A value. That's your major axis. That means you're going to go up and down 4 to get that. So as I'm plotting this, and again, you can do this before you plot, I'm going to go up 4, so 1, 2, and I'm going to label this with a vertex, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, this is a vertex. And I don't care about labeling the points, just give me the V for vertex. Then you can go back, it's really easy if you've plotted your graph right, to list these. My vertex would be 2, 1, and 2, -7. Okay, from here you can do vertex or co-vertex, it doesn't matter. I do know, since this is vertical, that my vertex and my foci are going to be the same direction. So my foci is my C, and I really don't know what 7 is, root 7, but I know that it's going to be less, or it's going to be inside my vertex. So I'm going to write it as 2, and then I'm going to go -3 plus root 7 and minus root 7. So if I go inside root 7 and I add that to 3, that is going to be about, that's going to be right there, focus. And if I take -3 and I subtract root 7, that's going to be about -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's about right there. Co-vertex, remember you get from your B value. Co-vertex is going to be left and right. So we're centering on vertex and co-vertex. So I'm going to go left and right 3 from my center. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So that should be -1, -3, and 5, -3. And then draw the best that you can. Whoops, I didn't label co-vertex. And remember, you're just connecting your vertex. Okay, there's my pretty picture. Okay, so how is it different? On this one, it's not written in standard form, so we have to put it in standard form. And we do that by completing the square. So on your standard equations, it always starts with an x. So I'm going to do that here. So completing the square, remember, no coefficients. So I'm going to factor out the coefficient. That leaves me with a 4. Leave a blank. On my y's, take out a coefficient of 9. That leaves me with y squared minus 2y. I'm going to move this 11 over. Leave a blank for my x. Leave a blank for my y. If you half box square, that leaves you with a +4. On the other side, I'm going to add a 16. If I half box squared -2, that leaves me with a +1, which really is a 9. Then if I write this gives me an x plus 2 quantity squared, and then a y minus 1 quantity squared. This over here adds to 36. Okay, so you have a fraction. And if you notice, your equations always equal 1. So if they equal 1, I'm going to divide by 36. This is going to give me an x plus 2 quantity squared over 9. A y minus 1 quantity squared over 4. That equals 1. This is my standard equation. Okay, from here, I can go ahead. Remember, your biggest number is A. That means A is going to be 3. B is going to be 2. C is going to be roughly root 5. which is about 2 something. And then we can start filling in our information. Your center is -2, 1. And again, if you'd like to sketch at the same time, that's totally fine. -2, 1 is my center. Make sure you label at the same time. Okay, if my A is bigger over here, this is a horizontal. So my vertex, remember vertex right here is 3. That means I'm going to go left and right. So 1, 2, 3. These are my vertex. So vertex is going to be, this is 1, 1 and 5, 1. Or how about -5, 1? Your focus is going to be, not there, focus is going to be √5. And again, that's about 2. So if I go over about 2, this is 1, 2, and a little bit more. It's about on this line or a little bit more. And then 1, 2, and a little bit more. And again, if you have your square root, it's -2 plus or minus the square root of 5, and we're staying at 1. And then your co-vertex is up and down 2. So from here, up 2 and down 2. Should have made a bigger picture there. So this is -2, 3 and -2, -1. Ooh, that's messy. And do the best that you can connecting your vertexes.